Hi, I'm Ryan Davis,
And I'm Kiernan Schmidt.
and this is Out of Office, a travel podcast.
This seat taken.
Hey, Kiernan.
Hello, Ryan. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
You know, I'm keeping on fresh back from a trip. I've got that post-travel glow.
I know. I expected you to come back with a little bit of a Cockney accent, but I guess you kept it pretty highbrow.
Nope. I don't do that. I just don't. I try really hard not to be that guy.
Well, welcome back. I know that London is. I always think of London as your happy place. Is that fair?
It's one of them. I mean, I would maybe put, it's one of them, I would say.
What were
I
you
feel
about
like
to
New
say?
York is one of those. I was about to say New York. I was about to say
but New York is a place that we've lived. So we've had like great things happen there and terrible things, So it's like,
sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
And both our friendship falls in both of those categories for me.
Depends on the day. Yeah, exactly.
No, fair point. But I also lived in London, so that's
Yeah,
true
but
there
not
as
as
well.
long.
No, you're right. It was like an extended vacation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
No,
do I
it was
live in
great to be back.
Bogota?
And I hadn't been there for 10 years, which is so insane to
me. That is crazy. So like the flying cars and everything, it's happening over there in London.
It was a great trip filled with a lot of theater, a lot of sights. I actually took a very key part of your advice, which is you had suggested on the last show that I should despite having gone to London many times, I had never been to the Churchill War Rooms. And you said you should watch The Darkest Hour in preparation. And that's exactly what my mother and I did. And it was such a great add-on to actually being in the space.
It's in the space itself is like incredible, and it's like so well preserved. I don't mind the little museumy stuff around it. I think it's fine, but like the real like those actual war rooms are just so intense, and to see the Darkest Hour and how they were in action, that's a perfect combo. I'm so glad that you did it. Did you have to join the Imperial Museum?
The Imperial War membership? No, I've just booked a ticket ahead of the time like a normal person. But it was very funny because the three musicals that we saw were like the most British musicals out there, which were Oliver, Operation Mincemeat, which is about British intelligence in World War II, and Six, which is about the six wives of Henry VIII. And I was inspired by your recommendation, like watch Darkest Hour, then go to the Churchill War Rooms. So then I coupled, my mom and I went to the Tower of London, and then we saw Six. Perfect.
And he locks them all up in the tower, right?
Not all of them. I mean, a couple of them, and two of them get beheaded.
Yeah.
You got to see the musical if you want to know the rest. There's no other way to know. I even, if you want to hear accomplishments, I even got my incredibly Catholic mother to not go to Catholic Mass while we were visiting London. And I convinced her that going to St. Paul's, which is the iconic cathedral that you have to visit, that if we went to Evensong and heard the chorus there, that would count for Mass. And I convinced her that was true. Can you believe it?
Wow. Yeah.
I know, the road to perdition.
Oof. Well, luckily God wasn't there to see you. When I was looking at your list here, and I saw The Darkest Hour for a minute, I'm like, wow, they made that into a musical. Like, I don't know how dramatic that would be.
Now there's our $1 million idea, right? It's the darkest hour.
So like Hamiltonian. Yeah. I like it.
It's good. Now, Ryan, we obviously have to do the Judy alert because, your European period is over. You're now back, I believe, ensconced in South America. And I know we're talking about a Colombian destination today. Where are you right now?
So I'm actually at my apartment in Bogota, which is in a neighborhood called Chico. And I just got back from a 11-day trip all around Colombia with my friend Diego, who was celebrating his 30th birthday. And so we started off in Cartagena, and then
Diego's a lot younger than you are.
Not that much,
No, but it's a significant. I mean, over a decade counts as a lot. I would say
he's a cardiologist.
Percentage-wise,
he's a cardiologist, though. He's more important than me.
Wow. So he's doing something actually to help people in this world.
Exactly. Yeah. So we went to Cartagena, we went to Medellin, and we stayed both in the old city in Cartagena and sort of on the beach, which I had never done before, which was pretty cool. And then we went to Medellin and we took this tour to Guatapé that was hosted by this guy named Oscar, who we're going to talk to today, who runs a company called Medellin Peaks. And he was a great tour guide. And it was one of those tours that's like really long. You know, they pick you up at like 8 a.m. and then you don't get back until like 6:30 or something.
Oh, yeah. Now, do you like a tour that long? Because I go into that with a lot of fear.
I was a little skeptical, but I had a really good time. It was well planned tour. Like they started off with like breakfast, and then we did like a experience, and then we had lunch, and then we did another experience. So it felt like very broken up, and it didn't seem like it was just kind of too much. Although I was so exhausted when we got back. We were going to go out that night and party because it was our last night in Medellin, and I was like, sorry guys, I am not.
No, I bet the 30-year-olds were like, oh, the abuelo over here.
Viejo.
What now, was Oscar your actual tour guide on this particular day?
Yeah, he was. And so I asked him afterwards, I'm like, hey, will you come on the pod and talk a bit about Guatapé and Medellin? And he said that he would love to. So he grew up in Medellin. So you know, he's lived in Medellin most of his life, though he lived in the US for a bit. He talks a little about that. But yeah, it's now this is my first time going to Medellin where I've left and done one of the outskirts activities. And so this is a good one today. There's a lot of fun stuff. And yeah, I think it's a good interview. Oh, the cabin crew.
Flight attendants, prepare for takeoff, please.
Well, thank you so much, Oscar. Welcome to Out of Office. We are so glad to have you here. You know, as I've mentioned to the listeners, you and I met a few weeks ago when I was in Medellin. I went on a tour that you and a company provided of Guatapé.
Yes.
And it was a fantastic tour. I'm looking to talk a bit about Guatapé, but I'm curious, you're from Medellin. Can you talk a bit about what Medellin was like when you grew up and how things have changed? You know, because right now Medellin has such a specific vibe, I think.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Medellin have a lot of, changes, okay? And I grew over here in Medellin, I grew up in Medellin, but everybody knows what happens in Medellin at the 80s and 90s. So for that reason, I need to move to Spain and also to the United States. I lived 14 years between Miami and New Jersey. And when I come back in 2014, I was on vacation and I saw a different city. I saw everything looks different over here, the situation, the security, even the police, because before we was afraid about the police over here. And the police, they talk with the people with more respect, and the people have other mentality. So I was thinking about coming back, and actually I was coming back in 2014. And I started, doing different business over here. I opened a restaurant, opened a studio for rehearsal, studio for music. And I started, start a new life over here. Because when I was a kid, that was terrible over here. We have a lot of situations. Everybody knows about what happens with Pablo Escobar over here. We have the Medellin cartel. We have paramilitaries. We have not inside Medellin, but outside Medellin. Around Medellin, we have a lot of guerrillas. So we are like inside the city because we cannot go 1 hour. If you drive 1 hour out of the city, probably you can see the guerrillas over there, and probably you can capture or kidnap or something. So that was different. When I come back in 2014, I started, seeing, and watching a different city over here. So after pandemic, I started working with tourism over here and start discovering my country. Because as I say, before it was like a kidnapping over here in Medellin. We cannot go out to Medellin because too many places was too dangerous. Even in Guatapé, over there in Guatapé for 7 years, there was not tourism at all around the 90s. They have a lot of guerrillas and also paramilitaries over there. And that was a terrible situation. But now it's totally different. And when you go to Google and you put, Colombia tourism, of course it's gonna appear the big rock of El Peñol or Guatapé over there. So everything is different now, and I'm happy to come back here because I discovered a new country, a new city, and I love my city because have you seen when you come here, the most beautiful thing over here is the people. The people over here are super friendly, are super nice. If you ask me for a direction or something, the people still walk with you and take you to the direction. You see that people over here is so friendly. And over here in Colombia, we are more good people than bad people. So now I think we are winning that battle over here.
Yeah, no, I think so. And, I went to Medellin for the first time in 2019, and I've been back now like, 3 or 4 times. And I love the city. It's so vibrant and beautiful. And I mean, just between all the trees and the mountains, it's got a very unique kind of visual aesthetic. And it's such a pretty city. I'm curious, before we jump into, some of the things outside of Medellin, do you want to talk about a couple of your favorite places to bring visitors in the city?
Yeah, absolutely. Coconut 13 is one of the places. It's amazing. It's amazing, though, because as I tell you, if you asked me 20 years ago, even 50 years ago, hey, let's go to the Coconut 13, I say, you know what? No, I don't want to go there because that was really a dangerous place over there. And now it's so beautiful, man. You can walk there and watching all those, people over there dancing and painting and happy people and everybody trying to make, some business over there, selling t-shirts, hats, whatever. But that place over there now is fantastic, man, because you can see happy people all around there. And if I don't tell the people what happens 20 years ago, nobody trusts what really happened in that place over there.
Yeah, it's
amazing. Cool, that was one of the best places here.
It's such a cool neighborhood, and the escalators that take you up through the various parts of the neighborhood where you can see different street art and galleries and little beer shops. It's a super cool, lively neighborhood, definitely.
It's also one of the good things the local government made for the people
is the escalators.
Because before, the people was abandoned over there, and they make small things, but make it because the electric they absolutely help the people because people need to walk 900 escalates to go to the house and pay the groceries and handicapped people, whatever. And now it's more easy. They make it life more easy over there.
Yeah. Well, I wish they would do the same on the Guatapé rock. So we should talk a bit about Guatapé. Yeah. It's a city that's about 2 hours outside of Medellin, and you go through the mountains to get there.
Yes, yeah. We need to get over here in Antioquia. Antioquia is our state. We are mountains everywhere. We are at the middle of the central Andes Range mountains. So everywhere you go, you're gonna find mountains, big mountains all around. So that's the good thing because if you drive 1 hour south, you're gonna find coldest temperature over there. It's gonna take cold. 1 hour north, you can see a little more warm, and that's it. That's the good thing over here in Antioquia. So yeah, everywhere you go, you can see mountains. Guatapé is 2 hours from Medellin, and we go in east of Antioquia. We go in direction to the international airport, JMC, because a big tunnel, second longer than Latin America. And then we just ride like a 1 hour and 30 minutes more to a beautiful place called Guatapé. And around Guatapé, they have too many things to see as well. So there, we have the Big Rock. And also the Big Rock is a batholith. It's not a monolith because it's not the only one. Over there, we have too many rocks around, but that one is the most, noise and famous rock over there. That one is 220 meters, but all around we have other giant rocks. But also, not only that, we have a water reservoir over there. It's an amazing place. It's a man-hand water reservoir, 74 kilometers. And also there is a small town called Guatapé, the city of the zócalos. It's a beautiful and colorful town over there. You're going to love it. The people are going to love it because it's a really, really beautiful and colorful place over there. And they have a really nice little things over there called zócalos. And every house have a special design, and you can recognize the families from that particular design at the shop.
Yeah, this is one of the things I really loved about the town. It's super colorful. It's a really small town. We spent about 2.5 hours there walking around. There's a lot of shops and restaurants. There's a beautiful church in the downtown area. But what really stood out, besides all the colors, were these zócalos, and these are little square images, like cutouts, that are at the bottom of all the houses and the buildings that references to the families. So some family had a giraffe, and some family had a cow. And you told a funny story about how people used to give directions in the town.
Yeah. It's funny because every family choose a design, so you can recognize the family or the economic activity of the family. Okay, and you asking for one family. Okay, I'm looking for family. I don't know, Perez. Okay, go there and look for the white horse and the family Perez. And also you are a shoemaker. You put a shoe over there, or you are a I don't know. You put something over there that people can easily recognize what is your economic activity. So that's a nice time, or the nice thing of that town over there, because it's beautiful, it's small, and they have that particular time things over there. You can easily recognize, the families and the economic activities of the families.
And I would encourage people just to spend some time just walking around the town, because there's, like I said, there's the beautiful church, and there's all these great little side streets that are very colorful. And then one street that has all the umbrellas over top of it. So they've got it's very Instagrammable city.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Sometimes for us, for like tour guys, sometimes it's a kind of nightmare, because everybody stops to take pictures. Hey, you need to move. Come on, we need to go to the restaurant, do other activities. Yeah, people just want to stop and take pictures. And every corner and every place have something. Instagram of pictures over there. Of course, you're gonna love that. Instagram is gonna love that town, because they have a lot of places and a lot of nice things to take pictures. Nice pictures over there. The water fountains, they have too many things. The little tuk-tuk over there, that's also so colorful, and everything is colorful over there.
So one of so about 10 minutes away, 15 minutes away from the city is this big rock, and it's like 600 stairs to get to the top of it. And on the bottom of it is like a little tourist town that sells trinkets and souvenirs and food. And when you get to the top, what I have to tell you, Oscar, I haven't told you this yet. I only made it like halfway, and the heights really got to me. But my two friends made it all the way to the top. But when you get to the top, you have an incredible view of Guatapé and this reservoir. Now, I think the reservoir is really fascinating, because it used to be a small lake, and then there was a big hydroelectric project. Tell me a bit about that.
Yeah, what happens around there at the 60s and 70s, the population in Colombia was growing, so Colombia needed to build the huge hydroelectric station. So close there between Guatapé and El Peñol, that the other town close with the Guatapé, El Peñol, and San Rafael. Actually, it was 3 towns. Around those towns, they have a lot of mountains and a lot of rivers. They have more than 7 rivers over there. So the company EPN, the electric company from Medellin, they just take the decision to make the hydroelectric project over there. The only problem was because over there they used to be a small town called the Old Peñol, okay? And that town used to live around 5,000 people. So they need to flow the town because they need to take the 7 rivers over there to make a huge dam, because I tell you, 74 kilometers. So the only problem was the people used to live there. They need to relocate everybody and build a new town. That's the reason today we have a new town over there. It's absolutely called the New Peñol. Okay, so as soon everybody was relocated, they destroyed the whole town, and they just take the rivers over there, the 7 rivers, to make that huge project. Okay, so even today is the biggest hydroelectric station in Colombia. So also from here, we export electricity for Uruguay, Ecuador, and Peru.
South America, you all are so forward on hydroelectric projects. I know there's a massive project that was completed around the same time between Paraguay and Argentina. El Salvador has an incredible hydroelectric program. It's amazing to see. But the story of the town, that's a really tough story, because I was looking after we talked, I was looking at pictures and things, and it's just really sad. Those people, basically had to leave their homes, and it doesn't seem like everybody was taken care of in the move. And it's just a really interesting, when you're out there on the lake, there's a cross, and that cross is directly over top of the church that used to be there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's sad, because at the beginning the people was not happy at all, because they don't want the project, because that was a really nice town. That was a Spanish town over there. That town was founded over there in 1714. So what is a really nice and traditional place over there. So the people need to just exchange the house for maybe two or three rooms. So the people was not happy at all, because also the people used to have crops over there, and the people need to agriculture around there. So at the beginning, of course, the people wasn't happy at all, but they have no options, because there was a place or a project. The whole country needs that project to generate the electricity for the whole country. So, but you know what? With the time, the people just it's getting better because now they have a lot of activities over there. Because also in that big lake, now they can fish. After 6 o'clock, they don't have more tourism over there. So the people can fish over there. So they have a lot of fishers over there. Big fish, 35 pounds, you can catch over there. 4 type of fish, big fish over there. So one is one of the activities. The other activity is the agriculture. They used to have a lot of places. In that place, especially over there, they grow a lot of tomatoes. So really, really nice and beautiful tomatoes. And also they have the tourism. So now I think over there between Guatapé and El Peñón, Guatapé, right now the population of Guatapé, they are around 28,000 people or less. And El Peñón, I'm sorry. El Peñón, 28,000 people. And Guatapé is only 6,000, 9,000 with the farms. For that reason, I think it's the only town over here in Colombia, the unemployment is zero. Because they have too many activities, economic activities to develop over there.
And so when we're talking about a lake, we're not talking about a small lake. You know, when you're standing up on the rock, you can see there's so many fingers and little tributaries. It's a massive, it's a massive water. It looks like the Finger Lakes in New York. And it's become sort of a place where famous folks in Colombia have built their mansions. So we had, I know you took us, we saw Jay Belvin's mansion, who's one of my favorite reggaeton guys here. And a couple of footballers have mansions there. But then there's a mansion that's been blown up and left. Tell me a bit about that one.
Yeah, because I mean, of course, it's Pablo Escobar property. Everybody talks about that property over there. It's called La Manuela. La Manuela, because Pablo Escobar's daughter. Okay, that was a really, really nice property. It's a big property. Don't get confused because some people think that was the most important property for Pablo Escobar. No, the bigger property for Pablo Escobar was 4 hours from Medellin, one place called Hacienda Nápoles. Okay, that will have a river inside, 44 kilometers.
And now that
one is other.
Isn't that an amusement park now? They've turned that into an amusement park, right?
Yeah, it's a water park over there. Yeah, it's a thematic park. Yeah, but this one over here in Guatapé is a big property. It's like a kind of it's part of the island, one island over there, and they used to have a professional soccer field, a stable for horses, also a private nightclub over there, and a beautiful house over there. And just in the corner, just where you can see the both places. I mean, Guatapé and also El Peñón. So absolutely, that guy, Pablo Escobar, I think he was the first real estate over there because he used to buy nice properties, but he got the best property over there because that's in just one part, it's just one corner. And I think he chose that specific place because they have too many ways to escape. I think he thinks everything is before. So yeah, they have connection to land. Also, he used to have a helipad over there. And also they have the water over there, the lake. So I think he chose that place over there because it's a strategic point over there. And that property, La Manuela, one property was confiscated by the government in 1993, 8 months before Pablo Escobar get killed. The cartel of Cali and Los Pepes, they bombed that house over there. Actually, they bombed it twice, and the house is still there because Pablo built like that, really, really strong.
Yeah.
And some people believe inside the house. Well, before I have the opportunity to walk inside the property, you can see how they have double walls and fake roofs and those places they call caletas when they hide the money, used to hide the money and dance and all that stuff.
Yeah, I did the tour of one of his safe houses in Medellin, and there's a lot of fake walls and things like that where he could hide lots of cash. Yeah. Well, I encourage folks, if you go on a tour to make sure your tour includes going on the lake, going on the rock, and visiting the city, because I thought all those experiences are great. You know, when I first signed up, it was really just about going to see the rock, but I ended up enjoying the lake probably the most of the adventures we went on that day.
Yeah, I think all the tour companies over here, we are offering almost the same. Yeah, and we include the traditional Colombian breakfast, and also we just take the people over there to the lake. We just drive around. We take the boat around the property La Manuela, and some professional soccer players, and also some Colombian singers and celebrities. So that's part of the trip. And also, the town, the rock. We don't include the rock, although too many agencies include the price of the rock because some people, they don't want to climb it, they just want to stay around, and that's the thing. The only thing we don't include. But everything, is included, and also we go into Guatapé, and in Guatapé we take a Colombian traditional lunch as well, and we stay over there. They have a really nice places, like you mentioned, Umbrella's Street. There are other street they call the Memory Street. They have a lot of art galleries over there. They have totally free. Also, they have a museum over there. It's totally free. And also, you can walk all around the Malecon and see a beautiful water view over there. And also, we also include at the way back one place is a little farm. It's called El Chocho. It's a funny name in Spanish, but that place is really nice because they have a llamas and mini pigs, pony, and horses. And it's a really nice place to stay over there and see a nice, beautiful animal.
Yeah, everyone who listens to the podcast knows that I'm obsessed with alpacas and llamas, so I enjoyed that. And there was a mama llama with her baby that looked only a few days old, who was like camping out in the middle, and she was not happy with all the tourists. She was like, "Leave me and the baby alone."
Sometimes they just that's funny.
So I know, Oscar, that you also do some tours to the coffee region. Can you tell us a little bit about those?
Yes, there's two tours. Okay, one of the coffee region is like 3-4 hours from Medellin, and also here close to Medellin, there's one place called Envigado. It's part of the metropolitan area, the next city next to Medellin, Envigado. It's a nice city, it's beautiful. I love that place over there. And it's good because it's not too far away. It's only 40 minutes from here for the city, 40 minutes. And that place, they have like a 25 years, they export really nice Colombian coffee, premium coffee. I tell you, it's beautiful because over there, the good thing from that little farm is an organic farm. So everything over there is organic. They don't use pesticides and nothing. So the coffee over there is really nice. And over there, you got to understand why a really good coffee doesn't need sugar. So when guys go there, you understand why, because that one is a really nice and sweet and natural coffee over there. So yeah, it's a beautiful tour. It's amazing because I tell you, that one is so close to here, and the other one is like a 3-4 hours from Medellin, other part of the coffee region over here is called Caldas and Risaralda, and also they have a beautiful view over there, beautiful plants and mountains and beautiful coffee as well.
Well, Oscar, thank you so much for coming on the show today. This has been great. I'm going to link to your Instagram in the show notes. And so, folks, if you're in Medellin, you're looking to get out of town and see the rock or go to a coffee farm, or you want to do something in Medellin, just reach out to Oscar. He's an excellent tour guide and very fun to hang out with. I spent like 8 hours with him a few weeks ago, so I can totally vouch for him. So thank you so much, Oscar, and hope some folks come your way.
All right, guys. No, you're welcome, man. And come on. Welcome to Medellin. Come to Medellin and see beautiful people, happy people, and let me share, the happiness we have over here in Medellin to you guys. Okay. So yeah, we have too many people wrong things about Colombia and wrong things about Medellin, but we have beautiful people and happy people here. So I promise you come here, you're gonna have a happy days over here with me.
Well, thank you for that. I think it's time for the last stop.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the last stop on this train. Everyone, please leave the train.
All right. Wow. Ryan, so you got the bombed out. Did you see that bombed out Escobar Palace?
Yeah, I mean, you can see it really well from the boat, and it's the huge mansion, and then he's got the secondary spa because the man likes his hot and cold water baths. And then there was a secret nightclub. He had a private nightclub. So it was all on this one island, bombed in 93. Who knows who bombed it really. And, had kind of the government seized it. And then for a little bit, believe it or not, it was a paintball court, which would have been kind of fun. But now
that is incredible. You missed its heyday.
Now it's nothing. But it's remarkable how it's still standing, because it was built in concrete. So like the bomb blew up everything inside, but the outside structure is like totally there.
That sounds great. Well, it was Oscar's super interesting, and I like this theme of sort of day trips. I feel like you're starting to hit. Obviously, we've had the Boston series that you've mocked. I feel like we are going to get every corner of Colombia over the next like year or two.
Well,
with your episodes, but I liked this one.
Yeah, I mean, as Oscar says, like it's never been a better time to visit Colombia. You know, Medellin's a super international city right now. Bogota has a lot of cool stuff going on. Cartagena, you know, Cartagena, the walled city. We've never really done an episode there, but we talk about that. I mean, it's a beautiful country. It's a big country too. I think people don't realize it because, you know, you look at a map, but it's one of the only countries that has Atlantic and Pacific coast.
Is it very similar to Boston? All right. Well, we're here in the last stop. This is the last segment of the show. It's the final segment of the show. It's my favorite segment. It's your favorite segment, and it's popularly known as the People's segment. And that's because this is where we come together to share of ourselves. It's kind of a community feel here because you and I each bring one thing each episode. And it could be anything. It could be a piece of clothing. It could be a piece of gear. It could be a tale. It could be a joke. It could be a memory. It could be a hot tip. And it could be a piece of content. But it must meet one criterion. It must inspire the spirit of wanderlust even during the workaday week. So, Ryan, I'm going to ask you, as I ask you every episode, do you have a last stop this week?
I do, Kiernan. You know, I'm obsessed with like Americana and like road trip Americana, especially. I've talked about it a bunch on the pod.
Of course. It's why you're one of my favorite road trip companions. You are there with me. Wall drug, that's like a dream destination.
Yeah, we will drive to see the TPs.
we drove to see this preserved, unpolitically correct motel that you stay not in hotel rooms but in a white man's version of teepees, I would say. Preserved, that had to be built in like the 40s or 50s.
Yeah, it had real 40s vibes.
And amazingly, people still stay there today.
Yeah.
This was near Mammoth Cave.
Well, now I think if you probably go on Airbnb, there's probably like teepees all over the world you can stay in, you know.
Fair point. Yes, fair point.
Well, I was on Instagram this week, believe it or not, and a post came up from ArtNet, which is a great account that covers all sorts of art happening around the world. And they had this little article on these 1920s, 1930s grottos that were popped up all around the American Midwest and were very folk artsy. So, you know, lots of beads and seashells and broken perfume bottles, marbles. And, you know, a lot of these are still standing. And this photographer has recently put together a big show called the Midwestern Grotto Tradition. His name is John. It's at the John Kohler Art Center. So I'll link in the show notes. But on the show notes, I'll also link to the Instagram post, which you can see.
You should mention that's in Sheboygan for those of us that don't immediately know where the Kohler Art Center is.
Yeah, I mean, for our Sheboygan listeners who can pop over, it's open until May 10th. So I would love to have a listener go down there. But this is exactly the kind of stuff I really love, and I could see myself
incredible.
Bouncing around and trying to find a few of these. You know, I thought it was interesting. I hadn't heard of this because I spent a lot of time on those quirky roadside Facebook groups, and you know, this is right up their alley. But super cool. So there's the art exhibit, there's the actual, and there's the actual little churches you can go visit.
And there's so many seashells. It's almost like a mosaic on the front. Yeah. It's like an aquatic mosaic. And we've got somebody in the comments that says this is very concentrated in Wisconsin specifically.
Oh, well, there you go. So we do have some Wisconsin listeners, I know.
Of course. Have you been to Wisconsin, Ryan?
I've been to Madison. I've been to Milwaukee.
I've got a good friend who just recently relocated to Madison. I've been thinking about getting out there.
Madison's a beautiful little town.
Stop at the grotto.
Yeah, I went for a mutual friend's wedding.
A mutual friend of ours?
Yeah.
God, why are you invited to all these weddings? Who's that friend?
Verizon?
Oh, well, it was probably preceding my friendship with him.
But I love Wisconsin. We should definitely do an episode. Chase and I have explored Wisconsin together a bit too. It's an interesting state. The food is really good. I love cheese curds, and St. Olaf College, that little town that is. We did a project out there, so I spent a week there. It's adorable little town. Kiernan, did you bring a last stop this week?
I do, Ryan. So this last step, okay, so this is, I have famously in the past said that a good way to keep your spirits up when a trip is ending is to always be planning the next trip afterwards. And for me, that was pretty easy this time because I just got back from London. I'm actually going to Detroit for a long cultural exploration weekend this week. So before I head to Detroit, but I have to say I had another idea, which is I really wanted. I was really feeling the the Anglophile flame starting to burn again, and was getting very interested in a bunch of this British history. You know, we visited Parliament, we went to the Tower, we did all these like major historic spots that I hadn't visited since my very first trip to London in 2008, and so I was just really feeling like I had to brush up. And so I did some Googling and I found a really, really fun podcast series. And I think this is a good tactic, either leading up to an international trip or following an international trip, to find a real nerdy deep dive podcast to kind of keep the interest that you get when you're traveling and bring it back home with you. And so it's called British History, Royals, Rebels, and Romantics, has an exclamation point at the end. And the host is named Carol Ann Lloyd, and I am a big fan of this show. It's especially focused on tales of royalty. And I have to say, I was a little skeptical when I clicked on the first episode, and turns out Carol Ann Lloyd is an American. And I thought, I don't know if I want to. Yeah, exactly. Like I was immediately skeptical. But I have to say, now that I've bulldozed through a ton of these episodes, she is extremely well educated on British history. She brings enthusiasm and good humor to it. But she also has on fantastic guests. Like she has tons of historians on right when they put out books that have anything to do with British or royal history. She books them. And so you get really obscure folks, university professors, journalists who they bring such a passion and such a sense of who these historical characters are that you really can't get it anywhere else. So British history, royals, rebels, and romantics. If you've got any interest in British history, it's a really fun one. And, there's big oversight episodes where they'll tell you about, the full Tudor line of kings and queens, or they'll go really deep into specific episodes. I just recently listened to the Guy Fawkes plot episode, and it really talked about how this was a but what was really interesting is, like, I had completely forgotten this was a Catholic plot, and it turns out the plotters were hoping that by killing all the representatives in Parliament and the king and all the royal court, they were hoping Spain was going to sweep in and turn Britain Catholic again. So it really brings these stories to life. So I can't recommend it enough.
That sounds fantastic. I think I talked about The Rest is History a few months ago, because I listened to them a lot when I was on my European trip. So many good podcasts out there to go deep. And, I hope that folks have learned about Guatapé and Medellin on this episode. All right, Kiernan. Well, this has been a fun episode, and we'll be back soon. I'm Ryan Davis.
I'm Kieran. That makes it sound like we're taking a break. We're not taking a break. We'll be back in 2 weeks.
We'll be back in 2 weeks as normal. I'm Ryan Davis.
And I'm Kiernan Schmidt.
And this is Out of Office, a Colombian travel podcast.
This seat taken.